Hey everybody, this is Danelle here at Networkchain. Hope this finds you and yours safe and sound. And speaking of safe and sound, we're going to talk a little bit more about Bitcoin and the way to store Bitcoin, because it's very important to make sure that you keep your Bitcoin safe and sound as well. As usual, let's go ahead and start with the cryptocurrency market update. You can see here that Bitcoin is currently down 2.5% over the past week. It's trading at around $95,000 currently at the time of recording. Ethereum still struggling to get anywhere near back to that $4,000 range. It is currently trading at $3,294. XRP has been doing quite well, as you can see, up 7% over the past week at $2.50. Then you have Solana, still struggling to get back to that $200 range. It's down 10% over the past week. Dogecoin also down 10%. And you can see here going down to the top 10, Cardano down 8%, Tron down 9%, and Avalanche still trying to get back to that top 10 spot, but it's down 11% over the past week. So Bitcoin and some of the other top cryptocurrencies have obviously been very choppy since before the holidays. And so we'll be looking to see if things will change going into the next week or so. We look here at the Bitcoin chart. You can see that there's a possibility that we could chop around for a little while. You can see here since approximately November of 2024, when we had that meteoric rise, you can see that Bitcoin has basically been kind of vacillating between that $90,000 to $100,000 level now for the last couple of months. Now, we've seen this before. If you look back at the early parts of 2024, Bitcoin basically traded between 60, or really I should say more like, let's say 55 or so up to around 70 or so. It was basically trading in that range for just about 9 months. So this could be a possibility depending on all the macroeconomic events that are happening in the world, as well as what's going on in the United States with regards to them having a new administration come in, as well as what is happening with quantitative easing or tightening. We're currently kind of in the middle right now with interest rates being cut, but there's a possibility that there will be no cuts, maybe just a few cuts going into 2025. So it still remains to be seen what's going to happen from the global perspective, which in turn could potentially have an effect on Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. But as we see, when you have this, what people call the consolidation phase, then there's usually a chance that that crypto or that stock, whatever we're looking at, when we're looking at charts, there's a possibility that you can then see the next rise up. And it's usually a pretty meteoric rise when you see this happening. So we are definitely in a bit of a consolidation phase here. We'll see what could happen over the next month or so. There's a possibility we can then take that next leg up. A lot of people believe that 2025 will still be a wonderful year for Bitcoin, because we are now nearing a year since the Bitcoin halving in April of 2024. And usually a year after the Bitcoin halving is when you start to see Bitcoin make some tremendous returns. So people believe that in 2025 we could see more upcoming for Bitcoin, but obviously that remains to be seen. We shall see. So what I wanted to get into today and talk about a little bit is about learning more about securing your Bitcoin. Now, there's many different ways that you can buy cryptocurrency. You can directly buy Bitcoin by buying it through an exchange like a Coinbase or Robinhood, and then transferring that over to what they call a cold wallet, which is you taking self-sovereignty over your crypto. And so that means that if you do that, then you are now responsible for keeping your cryptocurrency safe. Now, other people do not trust themselves, and so they'd rather, just like a lot of us have money in the bank, we're basically trusting this third party to secure our funds. But because of what has happened in the past, when you look at the financial crisis, for example, in the United States that happened in 2007, 2008, we saw that there were banks that were basically betting against mortgages. It's a whole situation that basically had rippling effects in the financial markets. And so we see that not all the time do financial markets and financial custodians make the right decisions on behalf of their customers. So people in the Bitcoin world feel that it's important to have self-sovereignty over their value of crypto. And in doing so, they put their funds in a cold wallet and in cold storage, but they in turn are taking full responsibility of watching over their crypto. Now, if something happens where you lose your cold wallet, you can still get those funds if you make sure that you store your seed phrase, which is basically like the passcode, which is the key to opening up and having access to that crypto. Now, there are many different ways to store crypto, and we'll show you some of the different ways, but it's definitely something that you want to take time to learn if it is something that you're interested in doing. Now, there's other ways to buy into crypto without necessarily going that route of having self-sovereignty and getting a cold storage wallet. You can also invest in crypto and have your Bitcoin held, but once again, you're going to have to trust a third party, whether it be like a Robinhood or a Coinbase or a Square, for example, the Cash App. You can buy Bitcoin and have your Bitcoin held on these exchanges, on these brokerages. Now, some of these companies are publicly traded, so they obviously have to make sure that they have their filings filed every quarter. There's a lot of transparency when it comes to the value of the business and how the business is doing. So there is some, advantages to having a public company as opposed to a company that's not public. And there's, as we know, for example, FTX, they failed their customer base. They were not making the best decisions when it comes to the way that they were using people's crypto, that they were nefarious in the ways that they were using the crypto that they were holding for their customers. So places like FTX and Celsius, for example, which were not publicly traded companies, they ended up going into bankruptcy and losing people's funds. And so a lot of people now are a little bit shy to put their funds on a brokerage or an exchange, understandably so. So a lot of people now are looking into holding crypto on their own through cold storage. But some people still are not necessarily comfortable with holding that much value, especially if they hold multiple Bitcoin, for example, and they don't want to take that responsibility. So there are other ways that you can directly or indirectly, I should say, invest into crypto. There's, of course, the Bitcoin ETFs, for example. In this Investopedia article, you can see it goes over some of the different ways that you can invest in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency indirectly. So you can see here with the crypto ETFs, it's basically these issuers. As you can see here, there's 11 of them that were approved, now have over 1 million Bitcoin in custody on behalf of its shareholders. And Grayscale, Fidelity, Bitwise, ARK, iShares, the IBIT is the one that holds the most, that's sponsored by BlackRock. Basically, they hold the Bitcoin in custody for you. So they're the ones that take care of the cold storage. They make sure that they go through whatever measures they need to make sure that they make sure that those Bitcoins that they have in custody are very, very secure. But once again, you're still trusting the BlackRocks, you're still trusting the Fidelities to make sure that they have and hold your Bitcoin and that they're going to be storing it properly and that there's nothing going to happen in which you would lose your Bitcoin. But that is a way that people are investing in Bitcoin using the Bitcoin ETFs. There's also some Ethereum ETFs that are out on the market. So these are the different exchange traded products that are out in the market currently. Another way that people are playing it, for example, is through MicroStrategy. So we've heard about MicroStrategy and how they are the largest holder of Bitcoin out of the publicly traded companies. And they continue to buy Bitcoin to put on their balance sheet. And they now have upwards of just about 450,000 Bitcoin. Probably by the time you listen to this video, they would have made another weekly purchase that will put them over that 450,000 threshold. So because of the fact that they're directly correlated basically with Bitcoin and the movements of Bitcoin, a lot of people have been speculating and investing in MicroStrategy and MicroStrategy shares, because what they're trying to do is make accretive moves by adding more Bitcoin to their balance sheet. So basically they're adding more Bitcoin per share. So it's accretive, not necessarily dilutive, because they're adding more Bitcoin per share to the balance sheet. So that's another way that people are looking to speculate and invest with Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. So if we look at the different types of cold wallets that are available, if you do choose to take custody of your own crypto, you can look at something like a ledger, which is also very popular, and they do have what they call like a fail safe. So they're not, some people are very skeptical and don't like this option. So some people have decided not to use Ledger, but they actually have a way where they could potentially help recover your seed phrase if you lose it. They would basically have a way to be able to recover your seed phrase, in that they would also basically have a copy. So you would have to look further into that to learn a little bit more, but you can see they have all different types of ledger wallets that you can use depending on how you would like to hold your cryptocurrency. Trezor is another very popular hard wallet as well. You can keep your crypto on these hard wallets, and basically at the end of the day, it's not necessarily on the wallet, but it's basically a way that you can access your cryptocurrency if you do decide to send or receive Bitcoin. And it, once again, the most important thing is keeping those private keys, which is usually a 12 to 24 word password phrase that you would need to keep very secure. Some people are putting it in a safety deposit box. Some people are printing those words on a piece of metal that is fireproof, waterproof. So it just depends on how you want to go about it. And if you want to learn and just have just a general idea about Bitcoin storage and all the different ways in which you can have your Bitcoin stored, River has a great explanation series here called How to Store Your Bitcoin under their River Learn series. We definitely suggest going here and learning all the different ways about how Bitcoin can be stored, not only for you as an individual, but if you own a business and you're considering putting Bitcoin on the balance sheet, this is another way that you can consider having your Bitcoin custody. So they go into it pretty in depth, and it definitely gives you also other links that you can go to learn more. So this is another way that you can learn a little bit more about storing your Bitcoin. So it's very important to manage our money. Obviously, we manage our fiat money and try to do our best to make sure that that is secure, and we trust banks to be able to hold on and custody our fiat currencies. But also with Bitcoin, now you have a choice to hold Bitcoin and have self-sovereignty over the value of your cryptocurrency. So now you actually have a choice. That's why people say Bitcoin is freedom, because you're free to be able to hold that value on your own. You don't have to trust a third party, because sometimes those third parties do not act in the best interest of you. So once again, we'll continue to provide as much information as we can. And if you're more interested in learning about Bitcoin storage and having self-sovereignty, please let us know. We can continue to talk about this. We're still learning as well as you are, but we're glad that you're watching us here and listening. Thank you so much. We don't take you for granted. Thank you so much for watching. We look forward to linking up with you soon on the Networkchain. In the meantime, take care and please stay safe out there. Bye-bye.